Welcome to day 23 of the query folding challenge. For today's challenge, you are instructed to select sale key, salesperson key, description, and bill to customer sorted by the bill to customer in ascending order with all NA values sorted last. We'll be using the fact, sale, and dimension customer tables from the wide world importers database. So let's head over to Power BI. The first step, as usual, is to connect to the database. Wide world importers. So we'll be using the customer table and the fact sale table. Then click on OK. Click on OK to import the data. So these are the two tables that we need. So I realized that in the past, I would tell you to come to source and click on this option which allows you to include relationship columns. So I've realized that sometimes it's important if you know what you want to do, then it means that you don't have to uncheck that option. So just to run an example for today, I'm going to delete this customer table. And among the columns that we've been instructed to select, one of the columns is called bill to customer, right? It's called bill to customer and it is coming from the customer table. We see that because include relationship columns is enabled, we get to see that option. So instead of importing customer table separately, you can just allow this to happen, then select what you want to select from that table and remove other tables. So for example, what we can do here is to come to this step, and what we want to do first is to expand, right? Because what we want to see is the bill to customer. That's the only column that is relevant to us from this table based on the bill to customer key. Remember, if you notice, there's also another option using the customer key relationship. We don't want the customer key relationship. We want the bill to customer relationship, right? That's what we want to use. And this is also very helpful if you don't have a Venn diagram that shows you the relationship between tables. So instead of doing the merging on your own and you have doubts, you can rely on this to do the merging and perform your calculations. So I'm selecting bill to customer, then click on OK. Now that we've expanded the table, we see the value column coming from that table, the bill to customer. The instruction now says that we should be able to sort this column in such a way that the NA values appear last. It says we should sort it in ascending order. So if you try to sort these values in an ascending order, you realize that the NA values are at the top, right? And that's not the way we want to present the data. We want the NA values to come last. So this is not optimal. So we've not been able to solve the problem here. So to do that, we need a way to solve that problem. And to do that, we're going to use a custom column, a column that is going to help us. I usually call it a helper column that helps us to solve the problem. So we remove this step and add a new conditional column. So we check if the bill to customer equals to NA, then we return 0. If otherwise, we return 1. Click on OK. So I should have provided a name for this column. So I'm going to call it sorted or sort by. Let me modify this. Let's call it sort by. So we have this column now. What we can do now is to, since we've already identified all NAs as zeros, and we want that to come last, we can now sort this column in a descending order. That way the ones come up and the zeros will go down. So we just click on OK. Sorry, not filter. We want to sort this in a descending order. So we want all the values should come up and all the NAs should go down. With this, we see that all the values for bill to customers are now showing at the top and the NAs are at the bottom. But we want to do one more thing. We want to make sure that these values are sorted in an alphabetical order, right? So what we can do is to sort this now in an ascending order. So if we sort this in ascending order, we see that the values are now properly sorted. Up next, we can now choose the columns that we want to choose. So we go to Home, choose columns. We have the sale key, we have the salesperson key, description, and the bill to customer column. Then click on OK. So we have the sale key. Let me just confirm. Sale key, salesperson key, description, bill to customer. Yes. And bill to customer. With this, we've been able to solve the problem. We can just confirm that query folding is working fine. Based on how we approach this, the what's it called? The query is going to look a lot bigger, right? And if you remember, in one of the early challenges, we had a helper column like this, and we removed it, and it gave us problem. That was because of the approach that we took. So, but with this kind of approach where we don't select the columns first, we add a helper column, do everything, and then try to remove it. We're not going to run into any issues. Everything is going to work fine, and we'll have a result. So we know how to do this and how to use our helper columns without running into issues, which is really great. So this brings us to the end of the challenge for the 23. All you have to do next is just load your data and you will be fine. So thank you for joining and thank you for following along. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share it with your friends. And if you have a comment or a question, you can just leave it in the comment section. Thank you. See you tomorrow.